Hey everyone, welcome to Sketchday. Not Sketchday.com, Sketchday Live. I'm going crazy. Welcome to Sketchday Live. I'm Spencer. Happy Monday to you. I guess in the United States, anyways, a lot of people are off work. Hopefully. And yeah, I'm not off work. I don't really get off days unless I take them. So that's the life of an independent creative person who does what they do, when they do, how they do, all the do's. Anyhow, today I wanted to do something different, do some nature sketching. I had a request from Lori Burt as well. To do like a totem pole, I think. But if she doesn't show up, I'll save that for another time. But as always, I want to say thanks and shout out to the channel members and subscribers, the real ones, the patrons. Thank you so much for your support. Applejacks is here. What's up? Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show. I'm going to go for about an hour today. Got a jam-packed day of exciting paperwork. Sorry, I got a little text here. Exciting paperwork and a few things to take care of. So, got to do that. Unfortunately, hold on. All right. So with that, I'm gonna get started with some warm-ups here. Hello, Prashanta. Let me know where you're watching from, what you're up to today, how your day's going. And what you plan on getting done. Curious to hear. So yeah, I'm going to do some birds today. That's what I'm going to do. Well, just start anyways. Okay. You guys like birds, right? There's some quality YouTube content that is bird related I'm thinking of. Working on some bottle sketches, shaking on ellipses. Yeah, ellipses are hard. Paul says, my job is all paperwork now. You know, when I'll just switch the overhead here. When I moved up as a designer into kind of mid-management, you start to design less, which, you know, it's kind of sad, but it's how it is. You start managing people and ideas instead of creating ideas. Not that you're creating people. That's for parents, right? Okay. So we'll start with some warm up here. I'm just using the usual Papermate Flare. If you're curious about anything that I'm using, you can check out my link here. Also, digital sketching guide is available as a print version now, so you can check that out. All right, draw with the shoulder, nice and loose. And I'm going to be doing some nature sketching, so I just want to loosen up my shoulder as well. I'm just going to do some wavy lines. Just get the muscles going. I'm trying to decide if I want to do marker or just pen and ink, but yeah, if you're looking to get some supplies, use that link. It's a great way to support Sketchday, but also kind of put everything in one place for you. On the website, of course, there's also the guides that are available. Bro, what's up, bro? Also guides available for you if you're interested in markers, pen, digital, and soon to be pencil as well. All right, let's get some circles going. This microphone is driving me crazy. It's one of those microphones you have to... It's actually a broadcast microphone. Curious, it's the SM7B microphone. Also, I should let you know, because I'm terrible at this. I am so terrible at this. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a stream with Adobe on their platform. Let's see, where is it? Where is it at? There we go. I think they sent it to the wrong email, actually. Hold up. This is terrible. I always have a hard time finding this. I think they sent it to the wrong email address. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, this is weird. All right, all I have is one link, so I'm gonna see if I can find this for you real quick. Send it to you. Let's see, tomorrow. I haven't even seen my thumbnail. Oh, they just took a random picture and used for my thumbnail, which is fine. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So I'll be at this link tomorrow on Adobe Live. So if you want to see more stuff, I'll be streaming on YouTube. What do I think of Marius Kindler's new course? I don't know who that is, so but I'm sure it's good if it's available. You can check it out. Do I have any design ideas for bike storage maintenance stands? I don't actually. But generally I try not to do people's homework or assignments on the show. All right, let's do some ellipses. Okay, I do know who that is. But there was an article I wrote a long time ago about a difference in opinion about presentation sketches. Anyhow, he got really upset about it and things got weird. So I don't follow him. I don't know what he's up to. So I would just say congrats on the course and I hope it goes well for him. Happy Monday too. If you want to see that article, let's see. Yes. Copy link. Hey Vasish, what's up? Yeah, it was this article. Anyhow, he and a couple other people got really upset. It was the whole Instagram trend of taking a picture of a paper sketch and then photoshopping it. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Here's my thoughts on the whole thing. Talented guy though, so I hope it goes well for him. Courses are hard. I'll just say that courses are hard to do. So I hope it goes well. Airborne bike rack. I'm gonna do another page here and then we'll start with some birds. No, I do. I just it's things are kind of weird there, Oscar. So enjoy the course though. I hope it's good for you and everyone learns some stuff. Talented dude, like I said. I've been approached by several people to do a course, but I'm not ready to do that yet. There's a lot of how to draw stuff out there. I'll just say that. I feel like things are saturated, so if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. That's all I'll say. And I do have things I'm working on. So, but I don't want to put things out there that, may or may not come to fruition just yet. So in the meantime, there's always hundreds of videos here for free. Like I said, it's saturated. I don't know if there's anything someone would learn that maybe I haven't covered in some regards. So that's why I'm like, maybe it's a little easier to find if it's all in one place. Hey, Mecca. But yeah, it's a pretty saturated field. The books are doing well. They are doing well. Thanks, Applejacks. It's more of a decision between doing it myself and doing it on a platform right now. So, all right, like I said, I'm gonna do some birds. This is inconvenient. Okay, which side is the front? This is what happens when your marker paper comes out of the pad. You've got to figure out which side is the front. Let's see. I got to do a little test here. Well, thanks, Applejacks. I appreciate that. Can't really tell here. This is interesting. All right, maybe I won't use this. The reason for that is marker paper has two sides. And so if I use the wrong side, then the marker won't really take to the paper really well, so you kind of have to be careful. So I was kind of looking at birds earlier, and you know, if you want to break it down, they're kind of like this, and then you kind of connect everything. You know, here's maybe a side view. General shape, guys. General shape here, right? So in 3D, and I like to do stuff like this just because it kind of gives you an idea. You know, of where to put things. I guess I should do some legs, right? So whenever I'm sketching something, I always try to do. I don't always show this. I mean, I have on the show from time to time, but I generally try to do some sketch that's kind of like, okay, here we are figuring out, generally speaking, you know, shapes, or it might be makeup of things, you know. And of course, every bird has a different look to it and whatnot. I don't think I'm going to do them flying today, but I always try to do some sort of mock sketch or sketches. So I'm just going to do a page of these just to familiarize myself here as we go. And I highly recommend you do this as well, especially if you're sketching something new. Right, if you're doing something new that you've never tried before, and then try some different shapes, and then once you kind of get the shapes down, then you can start to just kind of freeform it. All right, so now I'm thinking about the shapes that make up this bird here. And if you want to, you know, do color and stuff, you can, I guess I could do it so it's like just standing on the ground. If you want to do color, I would suggest using like a gray marker, especially if you're not feeling very confident. But in terms of structure, color breaks, right, I'm just going to use my pen for texture here. For example. So, you know, this could be some different color feather or whatever. So go there. You can add some texture elsewhere. If you're curious about texture and so forth, be sure to check out my pen and ink guide, also available on the website. Check that out. But again, the purpose of this is to kind of, you know, maybe there's some leaves here or something. just quickly familiarize yourself with what you're trying to do. With regards to pen, though, just a little bit of what's in the pen and ink guide. You know, stroke direction can play an important part in creating texture, depth, and so forth as you're sketching. All right, so general shape there. So now that I understand that, you know, if I wanted to do, say, a bird looking at us, I have a decent idea of what that may look like, just because I've kind of done it in 3D. In perspective, this might look a little weird. Have you ever seen an owl's legs? Owl's legs are like crazy. They're like super long. Have you ever seen one of those? I'll just do straight lines here. And I don't have the chat up, so I'm gonna pull that up in a sec and check in. Hope you're doing well today again. Do they have 3 toes, right? Something like that. If you have a favorite bird, though, let me know. Maybe I can look it up and try and do one of those. But yeah, just quick sketches here. All right. Let me catch up on the chat. Hey, Jason, what's up? Jesus, hello, hello. What's my favorite sketching tool? I like sketching with pens. That is my favorite. Hey, what's up, Latrice? Good to see you. Anne, hello, hello. Red kites are nice birds. Okay. I'll look up a red kite. Let's see, red kite. I don't get a lot of pretty birds around my house. There's I think it's a blue jay. Oh wow, those are interesting looking. Should we do a bird in flight? If you guys are wondering what I'm looking at, I just use Google Images. It's a good way to just, you know, find stuff if you need to find it. You can see all my tabs. It's a good way to find stuff, and again, just familiarize yourself with shapes and so forth. This is a cool pose. Maybe I could do that one, or maybe one in flight too. All right. So when you do that, it's not so much that I'm looking at the exact. Hey Hector, what's up? I'm not looking at the exact image and drawing the exact thing, which you can do if you want to, but I think sorry, I lost my train of thought looking at the chat. It's not that you're copying the image, you're just looking at it to understand, okay, what's happening. So if I wanted to draw, say, a bird in flight, right? I think we had a shape like this, and then something like that, and head. And I'm just doing a generic weird looking bird here. Head feels kind of small, but you know, there's some bird like this. I kind of like to draw them on branches. I don't know why. Let's say we just had some bird like that, right? Tail, whatever. Thank you. Yeah, it's healing up. It's actually my mom's middle name. So, tattoo for her. And it's peeling, so gross. Ew. So I have a bottle of lotion in my studio. And I always have to explain to people, it's because when I first started streaming and doing videos, people would like criticize me so hard if my hands were ever the least bit ashy. And so it looks weird because my studio is like downstairs and it's got lights and stuff, and then there's this like big bottle of lotion. So people are probably like, what is going on? But yeah, I just gotta keep things moist. Hey Anne, what's up? Anyhow, so let's say we have some bird like this. So in terms of flight, right, I might look at one of my Google images and I notice, okay, there's a directionality to the body, and then you've got the wings that articulate a certain way. Okay, so it's like up and then like that, right? Something along those lines. So I could use this and say, okay, cool. You know, because this wing is gonna have a little joint right in here, for example, and then the rest of the wing right there. So I could say, okay, there's one part, two part, body. I guess I have to estimate where the head is on this body and stuff. Maybe it gets tucked in a bit as my bird is flying. Right, just all rough sketches to kind of understand what is happening. And maybe there's some pattern here. I'm just making up birds. I'm not drawing a specific bird right here just yet. We'll get to that in a minute. And legs kind of tuck in for flight. Right, so we're going to get some directionality. So then I can translate that into 3D and say, you know, here's my tail, maybe head. Now it looks like an angry bird. I'll fix that, or try and fix that. I guess it just looks like an angry bird. Do you remember that? Remember when Angry Birds was like super popular? Do you remember that? Anyhow, and then I'm gonna get my wings here. I guess it depends on which part of flight or bird is engaged in. So yeah, in terms of color break or breaking it up, maybe something like that. Right, feels a little mechanical right now, but again, the whole point of this is to understand what's happening, so then you can draw from your imagination. I probably would make this wing a little bit bigger. It feels a little small for this body, or make the body smaller. You know, it's up to you what you'd want to do if you're drawing one of these from imagination. All right, but that's kind of how I work things out. Reminds me kind of a little bit of a fish in some ways. Let's see. Trying to figure out. This is a weird direction. You know, if I go back to planes and stuff, meaning flat surfaces in 3D, might be a little bit easier to figure out. Right, but all of these sketches meant to, I should do one with the wings down. Or even, you know, if our bird is about to land or something. They all look so angry. Do you guys remember when I tried to draw a llama and it looked like a dog? That was so funny. Some of you probably don't remember that, but it's okay. It is all good. So yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna be doing yeah, so maybe we end up with something like this. Tomorrow I'm gonna be doing on Adobe Live. I'll be doing robot characters. So it'll be pretty chill. I'm just gonna be using Adobe Fresco, talking about any sort of tips, tricks, things of that sort. So yeah, you might end up with something like that. Just show its little legs tucked back there. I don't know, I'm just making up feather patterns. Okay, let's draw a real one now. How are we doing, chat? The sequel is Happy Birds. I've been using vitamin A and D ointment just to keep it. It's a small tattoo. It's not big. It's pretty small. I mean, my whole forearm's pretty much covered. Did some touch-ups on this one as well. So I've got a little bit more to do on the other side. It's not covered, but I'll get that taken care of at some point this year. Tattoos are expensive. They're like really, really freaking expensive. Like this little one was, I think, $100. I mean, they put a lot of work into it, and every person's different too. So there's also that. The Adobe live stream will be at behance.net/live. Nope, that's not the link. So yeah, I shared that link to that blog article that ticked off Marius and a few other people. If you want to check it out earlier, but let's see. Behance.net/Adobe Live. Where is the link? Hold, please. I was lazy and didn't put together a thumbnail, so forgive me. But here's the link. There you go. All right, let's do a real bird. I'm going to do a cardinal. Cardinals are fun. And I'm just going to sketch lightly here. Again, just getting shapes in. All right, so there's that two-shape combo that I was kind of referring to. I'll throw in some lines here. Have y'all seen that that website? Birds aren't real. I don't know if they're being serious or what, but it's like super ridiculous. Birds aren't real, man. All right, so for this one, I'm looking at a picture of a cardinal in two different positions, and so I'm trying to just guesstimate, estimate, whatever, a few things here. Leg-wise. So do something like that. Like, this is not what the cardinal is on, for example. I'm just making something up. All right, this is my fake branch, because I like branches, like I said. And I'll pull this out with the color here in just a sec. Oh yeah, shout out. I always forget. Shout out and thanks to Paul Sohi for creating some of the tunes that we use here. I'm really glad I was able to do that because I've started getting, just for some of the older videos I did, I was using music that I thought was okay to use. But what's been happening is people are like going through old catalogs of stuff and starting to like request YouTube take down or demonetize videos. And so a lot of my older videos I'm having to go through and manually I'm not super happy with this shape. This needs to be a bit more like so. I'm having to manually go in and like mute audio, which takes forever. So I'm working on that though. I'm going to use the cheap markers today. See what we can do here. All right, I got red 2, red 3, and red 8. Let's start with red 2. These are Ohuhu markers. Again, you can find the stuff I use on sketchaday.com/stuff. I do workshops individually. Yes, I do. So tutoring, I know this is going to sound insane to some of you, but that's just how much it is. Is $150 an hour for individual tutoring. And then I do workshops with groups, which typically is the more economical way to go, I think. So with markers, you always want to start with your lightest marker and then go from there. So the red 2 here is the lightest in my series of markers. Okay. So I'm just using this because markers are, and I'm giving you all the stuff from the marker guide here, but if you want to get more in depth, check out the marker guide. But, and this one's starting to run out finally. Start with your lightest marker. You know, you can block colors in too if you want to. I'm going to use some grays here. Just some deep gray for this little area. I gotta sneeze here in just a sec. Pardon me. Excuse me. Also, I don't know if you remember this guy. I'm still making accessories for him. I'm gonna make a marker and a few other things. But I had sketched this on the channel, decided to 3D print and make it. So he just hangs out with me in the studio here. Is that weird? It's like hanging out with yourself. But I'm an introvert, so there's also that. Which, interestingly enough, people are always surprised by, like, what? You're an introvert? I'm like, yeah, I'm an introvert. For real. For real. So this is just a deep gray marker. I like them because they're not as intense as using like a pure black on your page. All right, so we start with our lightest red. So now we're going to build up a little bit. Sorry, I didn't realize the sneeze would be that loud. Everyone's like, bless you. And these Ohuhu markers are not the best at being subtle. So I'm gonna have to push this or see if there's another one I can use from another set as well. I do have this red 8, which should be a bit more intense, but what I'm trying to do here is create some three-dimensionality in our cardinal here. You know, we're creating texture right under these feathers, and then trying to... Oh, nice. I'm an introvert for sure. And for those wondering, introvert does not mean... I like this whole... I feel like I'm finally seen online. There's a lot of content regarding introverts and explaining it to people, because sometimes people that are extroverted, which basically means you get recharged or energized by being around and with people. And I'm the opposite. I like being around people, but at the same time, like, I have to tap out at some point and be like, yo, I need to go cocoon for a bit and then we can hang. But some people are like relentlessly energetic. That's not me. I can engage, I can do it, but then afterward I just want to like disappear for a bit. So that's how I am. I don't know if Hector's still watching, but he knows that. I'll go to conferences sometimes and I'm just like, well, I used to, I guess. Not that anyone's going to conferences anymore. But I would just have to disappear for a while and then, you know, come back or whatever. So yeah, with markers, the pigment is, as you can see, it is translucent. Well, maybe you can't see that, or maybe that didn't really register for you, but it's translucent. So as you're coloring, you want to make sure your lights go on first, and then you do your darks. Okay, the type of strokes you use as well can communicate texture as you're going. And then as far as 3D goes, I'm trying to make sure I have a nice shadow core, and that's going to help this feel like it's wrapping a bit more. Ooh, it does have a red beak. At least this cardinal does. So pretty. Birds are always interesting too, because the male birds are oftentimes the more colorful, expressive looking in that species. In fact, the legs are red too, which is, this whole thing's red. I'll just use this lighter red, be a little bit more delicate here. So as I was saying, the color kind of, you can use the color to effectively, you know, fix something. So if my leg trajectory and position was a little bit off, wrong red, I can kind of color in and fix some of that. That's going to be in shadow. Because it's in shadow, I can put some gray over it actually to help with the depth. Just a little depth here, maybe a little gray in a couple spots. Sometimes gray can muddy your colors though, so you just want to be careful if you're going to take that approach that you don't overdo it. All right, and then we can do our branch. Let's see, I want to use something grayish. You know, wood is interesting, particularly as you're coloring it with markers, because there's like a, you know, in your brain you think, oh, tree brown, but it's not always the case that a tree limb is going to be super saturated or super brown. So you just want to be careful with that. right, so just a little vignette here. We'll make that nice and dark. And as we move back in the field here, I want to make this a little bit darker as well. So I'll take my green gray marker here, just kind of add to the texture, maybe some of the shadow of the bird on this branch. So it keeps the color in effect, but kind of desaturates it, right? So let me angle this so you can see a little bit better. Oftentimes the overhead kind of reflects on the marker a bit, so you don't quite see it. All right, but something like that. Let's do another view, and then we'll do one more bird. Call it good. All right. Are we on time? 40 minutes. Okay, we got time. Shoveling during the blizzard in Toronto. Nice. Trey says, I'm an introvert. I don't like people. That's funny, man. Let's do another view of this red cardinal. I just want to make sure. Oh, interesting. So sometimes the feathers on the head stick up. So that's why it's important to look at pictures, just to make sure. Wow. I was looking at one in flight. It looks insane. You just want to make sure that you're getting all the shapes right. Okay. So again, if I go to my handy dandy Google, I can see different views. So for example, now that I see this, right, I can see the shape of this black area here and the beak and all of that. That helps me know how to draw this in 3D. Okay. So I'm not going to do that view exactly. Let's see. This is facing that way. Let's do something like this. All right, so because I have that dead-on view, I can kind of figure out in 3D, you know, what this chest area that's going to be dark would look like, and also, you know, it's got these feathers on the head. There's a nice center line, so I can follow that. And then I have an idea of what the body looks like now, because I drew that one. Okay, nice center line there. And let's do tail. And I'll just do some lines for the wings and stuff here. My cardinal feels a little plump. But that's okay. Maybe had a little bit more to eat than the other cardinals in the area. So it might seem obvious, but the more you draw something, the better you get at it, right? So get used to drawing something multiple times, multiple angles, multiple points of view, and that's going to help you be able to draw it. Which I guess sounds obvious now that I say it, but I don't know. I mean, I just want to encourage you, I guess, to just not be too hard on yourself, okay, as you're drawing. Leave that to me. Let's see. Okay. So the marker stroke, I'm going to try and texture a little bit more with this guy. All right, so a little shorter strokes. It's also a drier marker. So this can help create the impression of feathers, for example, without having to draw individual feathers. I'm just throwing these lines in because I want to make sure I capture just a couple of things here. All right, so now I can change direction. That's just helping me determine directionality for a few things. And I'll rotate the marker slightly, get these wing details in, and then on the top here. All right, so lightest marker, R2. So now R2. So now have you guys been watching Book of Boba Fett, by the way? My boys and I really like it. So we've been enjoying that quite a bit. So how you hold your marker too can also help create effects. So don't be afraid to be creative. Try something new, you know. You never know. You might come up with a stroke that mimics something a bit better. Okay, there it is without the glare, so you can kind of see again. All right, I didn't see Lori show up today, so hey Prathvi, how you doing? The weather's been super weird here in Utah. Normally we would have tons of snow, but no such luck or misfortune, depending on how you look at it. I'm more concerned about drought. And that's going to be a thing. Drought, fires, all of that. Hopefully no more earthquakes though. That was a really weird part of 2020. I guess no one really says 2020, right? 2020. Sketch Day Live, thanks for joining, for hanging out. Much appreciated. Just doing some birds today. Keeping it chill. Hello, Luca. What's up? It's been a minute. All right, let's use this green gray. What was it, green gray 9? And I'll do one more after this. Maybe it'll just be bird week. How about that? And these are Ohuhu brush markers. So they have a brush tip. I actually just got these, this gray set. So I wanted some gray markers. Skiing. Skiing is for interesting people. I'll just say that. I do not ski. Skiing is like, life is so good, I'm going to risk my life today. That's what skiing is to me. Like, y'all go do that, man. Not me. A wren with a colored pencil. Nice. I hope it turned out well. I'm just riffing. So this one I used with some reference. This one's kind of from my head based on, you know, the previous experience. So it's kind of what I'm talking about in terms of drawing your object from multiple points of view so that you can then understand what makes it look the way it does. Hello, Dawood. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't ski or snowboard, and I'm terrified of deer. That's the other thing. About me. I shouldn't say terrified. I just, you know, I keep my distance. They seem unpredictable, skittish. They kick your teeth in if you're not careful. I have seen videos of deer eating birds. There's a video of a deer eating a human rib. So yeah, I don't mess with deer. Hello, Sotham. Streaming is interesting. I always get like people at the end, and then I'm like, whoa, I'm wrapping up. And it's like, no. There you go, Luca. I guess I could have it at an angle. I could have my paper at an angle. So this is me holding my pad. It's not the most comfortable thing to do, though, I will say. Oh no, did my octopus fail? I'm 3D printing some octopi for my child. Is it octopi or octopuses? All right. So those are my cardinals. Okay, I'm not done because I got to do the legs here. If I remember correctly, the legs are red on my cardinal. Reddish. Reddish. Maybe I'll use like a lighter red. Okay. I was not look at the cap on that. I was not expecting it to be that red. Was not expecting that. All right, let's use just a little bit of black here. And put this back. This isn't black exactly, but close enough. Close enough. These things are vicious. I didn't even notice the claws at first. I was just looking at another image here. Vicious. I know, it's interesting. The almighty algorithm. Maybe it does favor if you're on longer. Hey, Jordan, by the way. What's up? I didn't even know you were here. It probably does, but I don't really want to sit here for 3 hours. So there's also that. And I mean, who's going to sit and watch me for 3 hours? Like, seriously. Is anyone going to actually do that? So this is what I'm doing here. Just improving the contrast. I got to figure out a better lighting situation because you see that glare right there? I got to figure out a better way. It seems like if the light is at an angle to the paper, I don't get the glare quite as much. So maybe that's what I need to do. Change the angle. Oh, that doesn't really help. I don't want my ceiling setup to come crashing down either. It's a good idea, Luca. Make a birdish design. Those colors. I'm just doing nature stuff today. That's what I wanted to do. Latrice would watch for 3 hours. Oh man. I mean, we could try it sometime. Could try it and see how that goes, but man, I would be I've done 2.5 hours before. I think that was the longest I did. It was a sci-fi Sunday. Just kind of sat and sketched. I've also been in a little bit of a funk lately, I'm not gonna lie. Just post Christmas, just like I think it's just taking a break sometimes kind of gets you out of your groove a bit. And so I'm trying to get back into it. Not into drawing per se, but just into like the rhythm of work and life and all of that. So yeah. All right, let's do one more bird. Let's see. What's a good one here? That's a cutie. That's a little cutie. I don't know what this is, but I kind of want to draw it. This cute little, what is this? I don't know. Robin? Looks like it's a robin. European robin. That looks really pretty. Oh yeah, those early lockdown streams. Yeah. You know, I think that's just one of my personality flaws. I will admit, where sometimes I just go all in on something, and then let's do 2 views again. Sometimes I just go all in, and then get a little bit burned out. I will say. So, I'm trying to be better about it. All right, I'm trying to decide which way I want this bird to be facing. I'm going to have it facing down. It's a cutie. All right, and then I just want to make sure I color block out the orange area here. Something like this. Chest. Actually, chest would go this way. And then we'd have the wings. Something like this. This one happens to be on a rock, so I'll just leverage and use that. point in redoing this one. But I did change the body position and a few other details, so. Okay. And then let's do another one. They're so cute. English robin is what it is. It's an English robin. Oh, that one's so cute too. Cute but terrifying. All right, this one I'm just kind of making up based on a few images I'm looking at. And then you kind of get used to a few things, like, you know, I'm just going to make, this one will be a different robin. It looks so angry, but that's kind of how their eyes are. Maybe it is angry. Maybe it missed out on capturing a little bug it was trying to capture or something. Maybe. Could be. Or maybe something like that. Just for composition here. Little branch that wraps around. It's perched there. This one's on a little rock. Birds are fun. They're fun to draw. It's been a minute. Actually, it's not a rock. It's like a branch of some sort, but I'll make it a rock. Why not? Why not? Just some leaves and stuff, maybe. Foliage. This one's like way off balance. But I'll roll with it. Don't tell anyone. Okay. Actually, I might be able to fix it if I just change the angle. Yeah, that feels better. Okay. Angry Birds. Late for class. You're not late. It's all good. What modeling software do I use on my MacBook? I use Autodesk Fusion 360. That's what I use. All right, so this bird was really interesting. It had like some oranges and stuff, but I'm just gonna make up some colors too. So this one I'll keep fairly true, and then the other one I'll just make up colors. All right, so notice how I'm shading here. So I have this yellow red too, and so everything away from the light, right? I'm gonna be a little bit more intense with the color away, and kind of down this side, and that's gonna create some three-dimensional look and feel here. All right, so the rest of this now, I'm going to switch size of the marker and just go real quick over it. Still have some nice texture going here. So I'll just make this a little darker just on this side, and then add a few little strokes here just to kind of help out. I do need a little bit more contrast. You can always tell if you just squint your eyes and look at what you're doing. So there it is without the glare. So this is yellow red 2. So let's use yellow red 3, which is basically orange. Okay, that one's not dark enough, so I'm going to jump to a 5. Usually 20% jump in value is, you know, where you want to be if you are trying to build contrast and so on. And then the rest of this guy, let's see. Had like blue and then gray. Grayish brown, like a warm gray. So I'm going to switch to this blue. Oh, goodness. That was a juicy marker. Juicy. All right, blue, gray. Okay, cool. So again, just kind of checking my image just to see how I want to blend the color or colors. A little bit darker on this side, away from the light. I mean, not that in an environment it's really a single light source, because you're going to have environmental light coming through as well. But now I'm going to take, let's see, should I use this warm gray? Yeah, I think I'll use this warm gray. Am I done with SolidWorks now that I use Fusion? Yeah, I don't really use SolidWorks anymore. What do you use? One of the reasons is cost. SolidWorks is just really expensive. I like using SolidWorks, but the prices are extortionate, I say. Okay, and this is all quick marker sketch, guys. I'm not doing like full-on render here. This is just like quick stuff. So before you run and tell everyone, you should take Marius's class. This is quick stuff. I don't typically like to sit with a drawing for hours and hours. It's never been my thing, ever. I don't think it will be. Unless someone's paying me a lot of money, then I'll do it. Why don't I have a better warm gray? Let's see. Warm gray 9. It's probably too dark. Ohuhu markers are so interesting. I bought this set of grays, and what's interesting about them is I feel like they have some good colors, but then every now and then you like run into a situation where you just can't find what you want. It's like I can't commit to using you guys if I can't find the colors I want. It's really frustrating. So now I have to jump to my Copic markers, which are the expensive ones I don't want to use, and then use them, you know? What kind of work do I do as a freelancer? I do design projects for people, so product design stuff. And then I also do... Hold on just a sec. Let me just get this. So design projects, I have a little 3D printing business as well that I started up over Christmas. I do video production, branding, identity, strategy, a lot of stuff. So that is what I do. Changing to a Mac platform. Yeah, you could. I mean, there are some things that just don't work on a Mac, like if you render in Keyshot, for example, if that's something you do. They don't currently support ray tracing on the M1 Max, so if that was something you're hoping for, then maybe that would sway your decision a little bit. So yeah, these are like sketches I would put in my sketchbook, just really easy. Nothing too crazy here. But I'm all in on Mac. I have a Mac Pro that I use. I'm learning Blender right now, and then I'm gonna be learning some other software as well. But I just know there's certain things I'm not gonna do, but I'm okay with that because I like the ecosystem personally. So I don't feel the need to I don't miss having a PC. Although I will admit, I do have a PC laptop that I keep handy for certain things like running my CNC router. Oh, I should mention as well, I do have a design business / creative entity. So this is the address here. Okay. https://5050.design. That is my design entity that I have here in Utah. Yeah, these colors are so weird sometimes. These Ohuhu colors. It's really weird. Like they're so close. They are so close to like being a viable alternative, I think, to Copic markers, because they're actually good quality. They just got to get the system in place, I think, and that would help a ton. Meaning, kind of nail the colors, you know, be a bit more consistent, and I think they would be there. They would crush it. So if you're listening, Ohuhu, hire me on as a consultant. And I'll solve your problems for you. Just kidding. They're probably not listening to this at all. All right, so there it is without the glare. All right, so I'm just trying to build some contrast here, make sure things pop. Recently bought a PC because I was so afraid of software compatibility issues. Now I kind of realize I can get away with using a Mac for remote work. Yes, absolutely. At least I do. All my design work, CAD, video editing, website stuff, all of it. All of it I do on my Mac. It does suck in some regards that, you know, you don't get the same 3D performance that you do on a PC, and that's for some specific reasons due to Apple's grip on their ecosystem. But the things it does well, it does really well, so well that I'm willing to give up certain things. I don't do a lot of rendering for clients, like 3D rendering, so that's really not an issue for me right now. Maybe that'll change, and if that did change, I would just buy a PC, call it good, and not like worry about it, you know. So it's not really something that would deter me, so to speak. But yeah, let me know how that goes. I hope it goes well for you. Just a little gray here. So yeah, tomorrow I will be on Adobe Live. Reminder. I'm going to be doing characters, just different robots. Right now I'm thinking kind of in the style of Wally robots, just very simple gestural robots, and I'm going to paint. That's what I'm going to be doing on Adobe Live. So join in if you can, or if you want to. It'll be fun. I like this guy. This was fun. Glad I did that one. Also, part of this whole process is really, let's see, do I want to use blue? Let's use a different color. Let's just be colorful. Let's just make up some colorful bird in the same style. But what was I saying? I forgot. Oh, part of doing all this is you do get a chance to warm up. You know, if you kind of sketch things, like I said earlier on, and I'll do a little recap before we wrap up the stream here. But you want to get in the habit of drawing things multiple times, because that's going to give you a chance to really understand what's happening with your object or whatever it is you're drawing. And I'm just going to go for it. This bird's going to be insane. It gives you a chance to understand your object from multiple points of view, so that you can come back and draw it in different ways. What is this? Yellow 3. Yellow 3. Yeah, this is not the real color of this particular bird, but I just wanted to do something different. Just throw some color in here. And then we'll keep working on our purple. Late 2011 MacBook Pro plus iPad Pro. Huh. Starting to get buyer's remorse with alternative what? With the new M1s that came out or what? I thought about getting an M1 MacBook, but I don't really have any justification for it right now. It would literally just be vanity. So I decided not to. I actually bought a laser cutter instead. I have yet to set it up, I will say, but it's also going to be a part of so that 50/50 design thing that I posted a link to. That's my creative outlet on the side as well, where I basically just, let's do a bright green. I wish I had like a fluorescent green, but I don't. Yeah, where I just come up with creative ideas for things I want to make, and then I just do them. So that's what that is, that 50/50 design. Initially, it was going to be me and my sister doing stuff together, but she's sticking with her gig. She's also a designer. So I just kind of use that as a way for me to be creative, make stuff. So I do. This is still an answer to that question. What do you do as an independent creative professional? So I use that for making, right now, home goods. So I do some lighting stuff that I have going. What's this? Green, yellow 3. Man, these colors are bonkers. So green, yellow 3 you think would be darker than green, yellow 2, but it looks to be lighter. Let's find out. Nope, it is darker. Green, yellow 2 is darker. So again, Ohuhu markers are weird that way. They really need to just sort it out. So always test your markers either way. Sometimes I just jump in and just do stuff. This is looking a little muddy, so I'm going to fix that in a specific way. Oh, alternative 3D modeling. Yeah, I just use Fusion. There's nothing so far I haven't been able to do with Fusion. So yeah, I like it. How are products manufactured? That's a great question. Thanks for asking. I'm not going to give my whole design process and flow here, but just clearing off some desk space. Give me just a second here. So how are products made? Well, it all starts with, actually, that's a really big question. And there's a couple different ways I could answer that. So I'll focus on manufacturing. So a product is made when an idea goes through development, and development is effectively things like, okay, we've got to figure out, okay, I like this dark green. You know, if you have an idea, you have to figure out, okay, how do the parts fit together? What is the function? So just kind of kissing the paper with this brush tip, by the way, just to create this like texture and fade. So it's like really darker on the face. Like I said, I was gonna fix this, so I'm fixing the muddiness with texture. So yeah, it starts with the idea, of course, but then you have to figure out how does it get made. So working with engineers, and then you have to work with, in many cases or instances, what was this? Blue, green 2. So I'm gonna use blue, green. I need to create a little bit of a blend here as I go down. face of the bird. And if you get my marker guide, I do talk about this, blending difficult colors together. How do you do that? And this is just one of the ways you can use a texture to create that blend. So once the product goes through engineering and it's validated, meaning you've done testing to figure out how certain things work and perform under certain conditions. So for example, if you're building a consumer electronic device, you're going to want to do certain regulatory testing so it can be certified by UL or the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. They have certain tests to make sure that your product will not cause undue interference, for example, that it's not using radio spectrum it's not supposed to use, that you may have inadvertently specified in your hardware specs. And this is where experts come into play, where as you're designing something, it's not as simple as saying, okay, cool, I have this idea, let's just go do it. It has to meet certain criteria, right? So a designer alone can develop products, but your chances for success will be greatly improved if you lean on the expertise of others. All right. So once that happens, once you have a plan in place, you've tested things. Sometimes this happens earlier, sometimes not, but you engage with suppliers. So suppliers are the people who own, say, the factories that you're going to be using to make your product, and they will be able to give you additional feedback that is going to say, yeah, you want to change this, or maybe this poses a certain risk in manufacturing based on the process. So your engineers will have an idea of how things might go, but then your supplier will have specific capabilities and expertise that you'll want to lean on, okay? So once that happens, everything's validated, good to go, then begins the process of EVT and DVT. So you might have done your own in-house validation. EVT just stands for Engineering Verification Test. DVT is Design Verification Test, right? And they focus on different things. One might focus on mechanical constraints and making sure the product works. The other might focus on the cosmetics of the product, right? Hey, if we mold this product at a certain, it might be temperature, draft angle, whatever, what's the cosmetic appearance, and how will we or might we have to change the design to meet whatever criteria it is that we're after. Here it is without the glare, by the way. Okay, you can kind of see that there. And then I'll wrap this up. I'm definitely going longer than I wanted to anyways. Just using a little white marker here to kind of pop a few things on our sketch. So once EVT and DVT have... Oh, you're a validation engineer. Awesome. That's really cool. I have mad respect for engineers. Engineers, like, it's funny because you go into design school or you go on your internship, and sometimes people talk crap about engineers. You may have experienced this before, Applejacks. But the reality is, like, I can't do my job well without good engineering partners, and so I love working with engineers because they're really good at what they do. Sometimes designers, we challenge what's possible, and that's fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, you got to make something, right? You got to make that product or whatever it is you're doing. All right, a little bit of white pen here. Draft angle is, well, I'll have to draw it to show you, or maybe Applejacks can explain. since she's a validation engineer. I'm an engineer and they backtrack. That's funny. That is funny. Yeah, it happens a lot, unfortunately. I mean, same goes for designers, though. Sometimes in organizations or businesses, you're like, oh yeah, you know, you'll hear someone talking about, oh, how inflexible the design team is, or whatever. It's a thing for sure. All right, so there's two birds. I'm gonna sign this one. 2022, baby. I'll scan these later. I gotta wait till these dry because they're like super wet. All right, so draft angle is. Do I want to use my expensive paper? Nah, I don't care. Okay, so. All right, let's say I want to make a part or product and it's square like this. Okay. I'm going to have to create what's called a mold, right? That mold is going to have two parts. And you can move this line wherever you want, all right? But this is going to be, and I'll shade this so you can see. So you're going to have something like this. This is called the cavity. So this would be the cavity. And that's going to get filled up, not filled up. Filled up with plastic, right? So you might have something like this where, and don't criticize me too much, Applejacks, if I get this wrong. So this is going to be a sprue. Okay, right there. And these kind of just snap off. But this is where your plastic, I can do this in real time, I guess. I have a nice color marker here. So let's say I'm going to make a bright pink part. The plastic's going to come in this way, right? Through a process of injection. It's going to come in, bloop, all in here, and then fill this up. All right. Now, plastic comes in hot. Okay. It's going to come in at a certain temperature. And, you know, here's my plastic filling in this space now. All right. So what I'm going to get from this is a block. All right. You can say it's in 3D if you want. All right. But we're going to get something. Now, the problem is if I don't have a draft angle, which the draft angle, the simple answer, Luca, because I'm giving you the complex answer. The draft angle is the angle at which this sidewall here, right? So this is 90 degrees. If the angle of this wall is 90 degrees, I'm never going to get it out of this part. I can't pull because the plastic effectively, right, will kind of, it doesn't weld itself to the part, but you need some relief so that when this piece moves away and this piece moves away, right, I can take this out. Another way to observe draft angle in real life is if you look at, say, a cupcake pan. Notice how the sides always have an angle. It's not because cupcakes look better that way. It actually makes it so you can remove your cupcake. In fact, sometimes you bake cupcakes in these little things, and that's just to create a bit of separation from the pan and the cupcake so it doesn't stick to the pan, even if you put grease on the pan, right? So the draft angle here, you know, you might introduce some angle. And if you look at things, particularly like toys, sometimes outdoor furniture, you'll notice that there's a line here. There's a seam. There's going to be a seam line here, or sometimes it's called a witness. A witness line right there. That's where these two pieces move away. All right. They can only move away if there's an appropriate angle. Now, the draft angle is going to depend on or it's going to be contingent on a few things. The material you're using, likely the temperature, right? It's not as major of a factor. The texture. Sometimes a mold has texture on it. So when you take the plastic part off, it actually has the appearance of, so if you look at something like a PlayStation 5 controller, it has an interesting texture. Just look at it really up close and you'll see. All right. So the material, temperature, texture, or if there's any features on the part, and that could be, could be things that are sticking off the part, whatever. All of this stuff makes or impacts rather the likelihood of success at making the part. So in a sense, as a designer, you have to understand some of this, not in the same detail that Applejacks does or other engineers do, but you have to understand that to make something like a cube with perfect sides, there are ways to do that. You can make a mold that has, this is called action, right? So it has like pieces all around it, 6 pieces that all come apart, but that gets really expensive. It gets really expensive to do that. So typically what happens is you go with a 2-piece mold, maybe it might even be 3-piece, and that allows for the part to be removed. So Sanchita has a question. Hey, Sanchita. How come the cake molds aren't drafted even though they're usually larger than cupcake ones? Well, in my experience, like I have cake pans, I could go grab them, but oftentimes your cake pan is going to be drafted, right? It's not as likely that your cake pan is going to have vertical sides like that. They do make round cake pans that have vertical sides, but often what happens is there is the introduction of a mold release. Kind of think of it that way. And that's just going to be your oil, or it might be wax paper. I just made a cake for Christmas, a Jamaican Christmas cake that required wax paper. And that's what creates a bit of separation from the sides so that your cake can come out. Otherwise, you have to do something like, take a knife and run this knife around the edge. And then when you plop your cake out, what might happen is you have cakey bits stuck to the pan. Because even though you spray the pan with grease or whatever, the heat in the oven, the batter and so forth, might remove some of those spots. All right. Non-stick pans effectively are molds that do have vertical sides, but they come with that built-in mold release, Teflon or some other coating so that you can remove the cake. But effectively, to do that, to have the no draft on those cake pans, they have vertical sides. Oh, thanks, Octavia. Yes, I'm from Jamaica. I don't really speak with accent on the show, but you can hear it some of the times in how I enunciate my words. Okay, last question from Elias. And then I have to go. This is going long. I'm studying industrial product design and engineering. Working in the automotive industry is my dream career. Any tips to get automotive internships? It's hard to get without an automotive background. I got an internship without an automotive background, but I got lucky. I was really good at drawing cars. I didn't love cars, but I was really good at drawing them, and I got noticed and by some visiting GM designers, and so they invited me to apply. I applied, I got the internship, and then I realized I don't really want to do car design. So I could have been a car designer, but I didn't want to do it. So I don't know if this advice has changed too much, but please, just a revision of the manufacturing process would be helpful to write down headers. Yeah, you can watch it again when it's posted. So to be an automotive designer, I would say, get really good at sketching cars. If you want to be an exterior or interior designer, if you want to be a 3D modeler of cars, model cars. Do the thing you want to do, and that will get you noticed. Pretty simple. So do the activities, the things you want to do, and you will get noticed. You'll get that internship. But you're going to have to work really hard because a lot of people want to be car designers, but there's not a lot of car design jobs and opportunities out there. All right. Okay, quick review. We did our cardinals today. Did some bird sketches just to kind of understand form and what's happening. Right. These are just from my head and some light observation. Talked a little bit about manufacturing process that was not planned or expected, and then did these other birds variations on this robin that I saw. So, Much love to you guys. Thanks for watching and hanging out with me. Patrick, okay, last question for real. Best ways to improve on top of practicing ellipses and connecting dots? Just a case of putting in the hours or need to critique yourself? It doesn't hurt to get someone to look at your work, certainly. So you can always get a second opinion. Share your stuff, put your stuff online if you're feeling brave and want to have people tear you down constantly, because that's how the internet is. Y'all are savage. But yeah, put your work out there, get some critique, but most importantly, put the time in for sure. All right. So I'm going to scan these, upload them like I do to the Google Drive for patrons and channel members. If you'd like to support Sketchaday, check out patreon.com/Sketchaday. All right. Appreciate the support. It means a lot, for real. It's fun to be back. Thank you. Remember, if you want to get better, this is another tip, Patrick. If you want to get better and you know something, try and teach someone what you know. It's going to help you understand. Like, even breaking down the manufacturing process just now, it made me think of things that I hadn't thought about in detail, and having to create the analogy and explain it in a way that makes sense. And then Sanchita pitched in and was like, hey, what about cake pans? And I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. If you're doing something vertical, you need a mold release. So the coating on the pan's a mold release. So you learn all this stuff, right? And now I have that additional knowledge and ability to explain things better and do my job better. And maybe that's going to help creatively, in a sense, help me figure out additional ways to manufacture stuff. Maybe, right? So that's the beauty of teaching people, is it helps you break things down in a way that you can communicate, and it's going to help you understand it better. All right. So that's the other tip. All right. Remember, passion is a process. Thanks again. Much love to you. I'll be back hopefully later this week. And I'm not going to give a specific time or date just because life's been a little unpredictable. I'm working on a big project this spring. Like, it's a project. It's huge project, 10 years in the making. And so I'm really excited to share that with you when it's ready, but I'm also stressed out of my mind because this is it. This is a big, I know I'm being vague. I'm being vague on purpose because I don't want to preemptively say anything. But those of you who are channel members and patrons know what I'm up to. So, yeah, I'm really excited for what's ahead. It's going to be a good year. Thanks again for your support. Thanks for watching. Even if you can't support on Patreon or any of those other ways, or donate, whatever, you can leave a comment on the video. That actually helps with the analytics, as it turns out, more so than dropping a like. I know dropping a like's easy, but leave a comment, ask questions. You can always, throw a hate comment in if you want to. I got thick skin. So anyhow, with that, happy Monday. Take care. Much love. And I'll see you next time right here on Sketchaday.